Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Music, Medicine, and Machines Learning and Meetup. Join us for an imaginative, authentic, and offbeat networking experience where you will learn about technologies, health, and well-being of our human condition. To make things interested, we were supposed to meet up in person starting back in the March timeframe, but since then we've moved online to accommodate our audience. I'm Laura Bennett. I am a co-organizer for Music, Medicine, and Machines Learn Up, and I'm really excited today to have Chris Wilson joining us from the Academy of Music and Arts near Chicago, Illinois. So Chris, please tell us about yourself and where our audience can find you.
Sure. You know, the sort of short version, I started the Academy of Music and Art in my apartment in 1990. So a long time ago. I was fresh out of Berklee College of Music, and it started as a guitar school. And after I had all these kind of students and I was running a business, the building kicked me out. And so I had to rent a commercial space, and it just sort of, you know, it just grew from there. And so we have a music department, an art department, a dance department, a theater department, summer camps. We teach everything from children to adults. I also have Chris Wilson Coaching, where I help people start their first business. A lot of people have a passion, something they're really interested in. It could be music, it could be anything. And you know, we sort of take them from making it an idea to actually making it a business, you know, and sort of fulfilling that dream to kind of own your own business. The easiest way to find me is on Facebook. On Facebook, you can find Academy of Music and Art. We have a page there, and that'll link you to the website. Chris Wilson Coaching. For any of my friends out there who are looking to start a small business or who just want startup business advice, you can check me out there, and that'll link you to my website and my YouTube channels and all that.
Wonderful. I think that's great that you've, I checked out your Facebook page, and you guys have really embraced moving online. And in fact, even giving your audience, you know, free, you know, little mini lessons. Tell us about how, you know, the COVID pandemic essentially has helped you guys to, I guess, reinforce your online learning and how you guys have transitioned during the pandemic.
Sure. It was really a complete spontaneous reinvention. I was, you know, like first week of March, we were not really, we knew COVID was out there, but we didn't know how bad it was. And one of my teachers is from China, and she's like, no, it's like terrible. Like, she's from mainland China. She's like, it's terrible. I'm talking to my family. This is going to be a disaster. I'm not leaving my house. I want to teach online over Zoom. And I was like, you know, so I sort of had 2 weeks to sort of wrap my head around it. Well, you know, we came in one day, the governor closed us down. So we immediately switched to Zoom lessons, thinking it was going to be just for 2 weeks. And in the process, people weren't really necessarily initially comfortable with it. They wanted to wait. So we started putting these free classes online. You know, so people were like, what's it going to be like? It's expensive. You know, it's the same cost. It doesn't seem like it's worth it. So we just started saying, okay, everybody's going to film a video every day. You're going to film a dance class. You're going to film a theater lesson. We're going to live stream our classes. And we just put stuff out there for parents. Anybody could watch it, anywhere in the world for free. And if they liked it and they wanted the one-on-one personalized lessons, people would, you know, enroll in classes with us. And so we're always posting free content for people, whether it's dance classes or music classes, art classes. But people do want, you know, one-on-one individual lessons. And I actually do guitar lessons in the room. You can see the guitar collection behind me. And yeah, so we had to make that transition. We just had to make the transition right away. There was really no time. We couldn't say, let's wait 2 weeks, let's wait a month. It was like, okay. And it's become really a permanent thing for, you know, it's permanent. I mean, it's December. This started in March. So it looks like it's going to be going on for the foreseeable future as well.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And so tell us, how did you transition online? I'm sure there's a lot of businesses right now that would love to kind of hear, how did you transition online? And was it bumpy ride? Was it smooth? Did it take you guys a week? What were some of the things that you guys experienced during that move?
Sure. I don't think any of us had ever used Zoom before. Most of us had Skype. I think everyone was sort of familiar with computers, but the idea that you're going to jump on a Zoom call and do this. But, you know, Zoom was really amazing because there's like screen sharing options. Like I can screen share my, you know, Spotify audio with you. So if we're talking about a song, I can actually play it and it comes out in real time in your speaker. There's a whiteboard feature, so I can draw a lesson just for you. Instead of handing you a sheet of paper, I can draw on it. You can screen share it. The children really embraced it right away. The parents were a little more uneasy with it. They seemed like, you know, like the kids were already learning stuff online. They were already you know, like maybe on their phone, people use Duolingo. I use Duolingo to learn to speak French. So it's, the kids were already sort of using apps and computers to learn things. And I think the adults just sort of had to say, okay, hey, you know, this is okay. And we can learn music, or you can learn foreign languages, you can learn this online. And so, yeah, I think it's sort of getting the parents on board with it. The kids just sort of went with it.
Yeah. And then when you transitioned online, I know you're doing a lot of free content then, and you're still continuing to do that today. I mean, you got to draw the audience in and offer something to the community. You know, that's part of doing business, being in the arts. I think a lot of people in those fields tend to be more philanthropic. They want to get their voice heard. There's that kind of that wellspring of individual expression that can come across in YouTube. I'm sure you would agree with that.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and YouTube has been great for us. And, you know, we know that people are seeing our videos all around the world, which was sort of unexpected. That, you know, we're getting messages from people watching our videos in Africa. And they're like, hey, what do you know, what was that you were just playing? And it's, you know, so it is kind of cool, because we went from a business where everyone's in a 3-mile radius to, you know, a global business. People in Ukraine are watching, people in Japan are watching. So that aspect is actually really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I think now a lot of businesses have to look at what they're doing and increase their expanse. And in some industries that are just being hit and hammered really hard, right? You know, like
Sure.
Restaurant industry. But the thing is you guys have moved online. Has it kind of changed your pricing model too than what you would do for traditional in-person classes? Have you guys kind of switched things up a little bit?
You know, we actually didn't change our pricing because we thought it was going to be temporary. We thought, oh, this is temporary. You know, you'll get the same amount of time. You'll get the one-on-one structure and the classes for, say, dance classes. It's still, you know, a 1-hour dance class. But we sort of viewed it as temporary, so we didn't change our prices. And now it just seems like people sort of see the value of an online experience, like a live online experience, versus, you know, is the same as an in-person.
Mm-hmm. And then
So,
in terms of I know that maybe people have had some struggles with transitioning online, and you know, it does kind of create that separation. And I think, you know, the arts, part of it is about being very much with other people, like performance arts, you know, performing arts like theater, you know, that has taken a hit. And sometimes you have performing art where people take on a role and they express something, and you need that crowd of people to be there. But I mean, you can look at the monolith that's been appearing around the world. I personally think that is performance art in one frame. And then there was that one guy who pretended he was a mask, and he was like laying flat on the street. I don't know if you remember that, but that's a performing art that could transition online. So when you look at your student base in terms of more on the art side and the performance side, how have you guys helped them kind of transition, and what have you guys done for that audience?
You know, and performance is tough because, like, say we do musicals for, you know, like Disney musicals, I don't know, like Lion King and stuff like that. And it's licensed, so you don't own it. You have to pay a fee to Disney, and they take a percentage. And there's no broadcast license. Like, your license is to perform live. So you couldn't do initially a lot. You couldn't say, well, we're just going to do it online and broadcast it. That wasn't allowed. And so Disney, you know, and the licensing organizations did adjust their model to say, okay, we're going to allow you to live stream your performance. The problem we run into in Illinois is, you know, you couldn't have groups of 5 or more. There's 50 kids in the cast. So there was really no way to really do that. So our musical department, unfortunately, has been on hold. For performances, you can do online recitals over Zoom where people can be in their home and perform their, you know, there could be, right now there's just the 2 of us on the call, but there could be 30 people on the call, and each of us could perform. With dance, you can do video recitals. You know, we can take, with video editing software, take a bunch of individual performances and sort of string them together and make a video. So that's really popular. I know my daughter's at University of Illinois studying music education. They have their choirs, you know, the choir's supposedly a super spreader. So they're taking it seriously. So each person just, you know, kind of claps a count off, and then sings their part, and then they sync up the claps, and then they put all the videos together, and everyone sings together remotely, and everyone is safe. It's a safe way to do it.
Mhm.
And so yeah, that's another way people are doing it. I think the Zoom technology, along with our ability to have computers where we can edit videos and do stuff on software, has enabled us to really give people the group experience even when they're like a little bit isolated.
Yeah, and I think people really need that right now. I think the arts is so critically important, and finding a way to translate it online is even more important. It's almost like an act of healing and bringing people together, even if it seems, I'll be honest, kind of silly to put all the videos of everybody singing a choir part, but it becomes so symbolic that people really want that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think that idea of self-expression, and it makes you feel alive. If you perform on a professional level, it might be, something you've done for a long time, but even for people just starting out, there's guitar kids. It's like their identity. It's, like you can see them, they have the Metallica shirt on and they have the long hair and the guitar. And it's like music is part of their identity. They've only been doing it maybe a year or 2 years, but it's just a strong connection. We see it with the dance department too. There's kids who are dancers and they just take, ballet and jazz and tap and they just dance constantly. And so they need that. That's when they feel alive.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think that's really good that you've been really pushing really hard to transition online fully. So what are some of the things you're seeing with your students and the families that come to your school, be it online right now and potentially physically in the near future, but how has it impacted their mental health? And have you seen improvements in their mental health since they've continued with online learning and really participating in that?
Sure. I've seen both sides because, talking to the parents and talking to the students about, say, their progress in school. Let's say you go to a public school and you're online all day and you're on 6 hours. The parents are telling me, I'm hearing, oh, they're learning less. One parent said specifically, I think my kids learned 15% of what they would normally learn. So they feel like in class they're learning less, or it's just a lot more book work and a lot more just sort of independent work assignments. Now, on the other side of it, as a music person, as a music teacher, my students, I found, and this is sort of year end, this is December, so we sort of did a year end synopsis. My students made incredible progress because, their lessons are a half hour or an hour, depending on it. And some of them struggle. It's like, oh, they've been on screen all day and they have to do another half hour.
Mm-hmm.
So when they're done, they don't do any screen time. Typically after school, the kids will want to watch YouTube, they want to be on Facebook or whatever, Instagram or, Snapchat in that. They finish and they're like, I don't want to see anything. So they pick up their guitar and they practice their piano and they practice dance. So the kids are doing like 2 years worth of material in like 8 or 9 months. Oh. So looking back at the year end, yeah, the kids made incredible progress. And so I really tried to point that out because we sort of did our year end last lesson of the 2020, that you made incredible progress. All that time that you normally spend watching YouTube videos or watching TV, now you're playing guitar, you're playing the piano, you're singing, and the progress is like, it's really incredible. It was really awesome to know that like the music really made a difference in their life. And that was sort of, they got away from, the updates about COVID or, politicians speaking about whoever they want. It's like, nah, they're like, no, all that's done. They just pick up their guitar, they play their piano. So music really had that sort of healing effect. And it was also an escape from sort of maybe the reality of the situation.
Yeah, I think we all need an escape from the constant Zoom meetings, the constant in front of the teachers. I bet your students did better academically when they continued with their art lessons, their music lessons, their dance, because they had this as an outlet. Even though they were connecting online, I would yeah. put out a bet, so to speak, that they did better academically. Did you find that to be true?
Yeah, the kids do great. There's connections. We talk about music. There's a mathematical connection to problem solving and reading music and solving. Foreign languages. Music is a language just like any foreign language. If you want to learn to speak French or Spanish, I think you're using the same part of the brain. So yeah, definitely. I think it helps them do something that's creative and that requires thought, that's not a video game or something like that. So yeah, it definitely had a big impact on, and sometimes the mental health of being able to say, okay, I'm going to go do something else, and that's not screen related, because then when they have to do their homework, they're sort of back on the screen on the computer. So to be able to go, okay, I have something else I can do for a while that's not screen related, that's productive, that makes me feel good. And now it's 7 or 8 o'clock at night. I have to go back and knock out some homework on the screen. So we're like a great break for that.
Yeah, I really like that. I mean, people need to use their brains in different ways, music and art, and just kind of like this free flowing creativity kind of opens up that part of the brain. So then when you get back online for school and work and you're in that regimented space, you're just able to navigate it a little bit more fluidly, I would say.
Definitely. And I think the creative side of things as well, because you encourage kids, like some people play jazz, and so they're improvising all the time. And so there's no written music. You just have to spontaneously pick the music. A lot of the kids, especially younger ones, are influenced by, say, Taylor Swift. And so they want to be songwriters. So they're like sitting with a piece of paper and a pencil and writing a song and learning to write music. And how do you write a melody, and how do you write lyrics, and what am I trying to express? So that type of thing is really great for them as well. Almost like it almost falls into the category of like creative writing in a way. So it sort of ties into your English and your vocabulary, and trying to, if you need a word that rhymes and you don't know it, you have to look it up, at the thesaurus. So I think that really helps the kids. Just that creative side of things really helps them.
Yeah. And have you found that your online participation, have you found like your student base growing, or has it kind of remained stable since the pandemic has started?
So since the pandemic, because there are people who initially like, well, hey, we're going to come back after this is over, so we'll see you next month. And it's December. So some people were initially going to hold off. The people who stuck with it. We didn't, of the people who said, hey, I'm going to stay online, I'm going to be on lessons, 100% retention, and even attendance. There's always kids who miss their lessons. I'm going to say attendance is like close to 100%. Like more people are participating actively. The people who are here are doing more classes. We have the holiday break that we're closed for. We're getting email requests today. Hey, I know you guys are closed. Can I still do lessons? They really like their lessons. We have nothing to do. They don't, my son doesn't want to miss a week. So we're actually open for the next couple of weeks when we would normally be closed, to sort of accommodate the families and kids who really want to be in the lesson still. So that was cool. I mean, that's definitely, we feel like we really work hard as teachers, as the teacher side of things, to be the highlight of their day. In a world where things maybe aren't great, we can make someone's day in that half hour or 1 hour lesson or class. If that's the only thing we do, that's a great thing, I think.
Oh, I mean, I think that really, that sounds awesome. That sounds really amazing. Just being able to bring a little joy to a student through music and through art and dancing.
Yeah, definitely. And so and I guess for them as well, it's if you're in an online class, there's 30 other kids. If you're in a music lesson or a dance class and it's just you and the teacher, you have one-on-one attention and one-on-one focus. And while you're working, you can kind of have conversations about stuff and encouragement, that direct encouragement of, if you have 30 people, you go, hey, you guys did great today, that's fine. But if you said, hey, you did great today, and here you accomplished this, and this week, and you did a great job, that sort of direct feedback, I think, is really important to know. It's like, oh, I accomplished something. You can see they kind of sit a little bit taller, and they smile a little bit, because
right?
they oh yeah, I did do that. And even if they're struggling, you can say, but look, you did this, and this, and of course you're struggling. This is hard, versus if you're in a math class and maybe you have 30 people, you don't really know, you're sort of comparing yourself to everybody.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like the individual learning has just really been super valuable to your students. I could imagine that, getting through, online learning for a 15-year-old or a 12-year-old or a 10-year-old, continuing with that online learning, despite it's online. I get Chris for an hour all to myself, and I can play the guitar. I'm not in a classroom with 15 other kids.
Yeah, definitely. The other great thing about one-on-one is just, you don't have sort of the judgment of others. Like if you make a mistake, like no one wants to say the wrong thing and everybody laughs because you say something, and one-on-one, you don't have anyone else judging you or laughing at you or whatever. You just have one person, your teacher's helping you get better at whatever it is you're learning today. So
Mm.
I think that's a really good thing as well. Because sometimes, you're nervous if you're talking online or something like that, and there's 30 other people, listening. It's, some of the kids will be nervous about that.
Yeah, it kind of fits in with the theme again of this blog, bringing together music, technology, and health, and really, I mean, your school is achieving that. You guys have transitioned online. You're bringing the music in. You're bringing the arts. The other aspects of performance to the students, and you guys did it all through technology. I mean, this is kind of a perfect melding of what this meetup's about.
Yeah, and it was interesting because it was like, this wasn't something we had planned. There was no prior plan, like, okay, someday we're going to open an online component. We just had to like solve the problem like in 24 hours. It was like we had to move very quickly. And so, there was no plan, where, okay, hey, someday we're going to open up an online school. It's like, okay, we got to find the technology, make it work. And it was just to launch it. It was 2 days to launch it. And it was something. And to train the staff, I had a couple teachers who are senior citizens who didn't have smartphones or iPads, who went out, bought an iPad, learned how to use an iPad, learned how to use it. Yeah, and now it's funny. One of George Felty, he has his own channel for playing the pipe organ, and he's got thousands of fans all around the world watching him play. But he was just like trying to figure out how to turn on the iPad, and he went from turning it on to having a YouTube show with thousands of people watching him play, the organ all around the world. He's 70 years old. So that was really cool.
That sounds like a lot of fun to watch, actually.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was really, and even for some of the staff during the crisis were able to, one of my teachers said, hey, I'm going to go live with my parents up in Minnesota, which he couldn't have otherwise done, but because it was on Zoom, it didn't matter where you were at. So a lot of the teachers were able to maybe go home and take care of their families, or the students would move move to grandma's house in Wisconsin. But thanks to technology, the schools in Westmont, the teachers in Minnesota, the students in Wisconsin, and everybody is still connected.
Yeah. Well, thank you for telling our audience about what you do and how you guys transitioned online. I think, a lot of folks, a lot of small businesses, consultants, they're just kind of, they're like, oh, what do I do? And how do I transition? And then thank you for talking about your students' mental health. I mean, any kind of last parting words for our audience that you'd like to share, or any closing thoughts?
I would just say if you're trying to transition to online, because I know this has gone a lot longer, you kind of just have to jump in and do it. Because you really don't know what the problems are going to be until you actually give it a try. And you might find there's a lot less, it's a lot scary once you do it. There's tons of solutions out there and support groups. But if you're a consultant or some kind of service business, you can definitely try to make the transition online. And I think you really just need to do it and be upfront with your customers. Hey, look, this is new to us and this is the experiment. But give it a shot. Like, you should really at least try.
Yeah. And then just talk a little bit about the value that you guys are still bringing to your students. I think this is so important. Mental health is a major, a major concern right now for many, many different groups. And how has this helped your students with their mental health in terms of staying engaged in online lessons? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it helps them, things are different, but things are still normal. Like, you're still seeing your piano teacher, you're still seeing your guitar teacher. We might be talking through a computer, but you can see me, I'm fine. My dogs are sometimes in the lessons, or you can see my daughter walking around. I'm giving the lesson and I can hear the families in the background, and there's like pet hamster. So it's like we're making it seem like normal, like everything's going to be okay. And I think there's that sensation because, people are worried what's going to happen. Is there COVID anywhere? People are, afraid to touch a light switch and things, and they should be cautious, I think. But the kids need to know that everything's going to be okay and that things can still be normal. And I think that sort of removes a lot of the stress from them.
Yeah.
Because that mental stress of the unknown. I mean, I'm 54, so if we said, hey, this is going to be 6 months or a year from now, I have the capacity as an adult to say, okay, well, 6 months, that's not the end of the world. If you're in second grade, I mean, a year is like, you're 5, it's 20% of your life, right? You're like, it's a year is unthinkable. So I think for us, it is just, we're the thing that we're sort of keeping them feeling normal and that everything's going to be okay. And I think that's the one thing we can really do. You can still play your piano, you can still play the ukulele, you can still play the guitar, you can still dance. And this will pass and we'll be back to in person. But in the meantime, this is what normal feels like, and we're going to be okay.
Yeah. Oh God, that was so touching. You must have a bunch of littles in your school, little 5-year-olds and 8-year-olds and 10-year-olds.
Well, before COVID, we usually see about 650 students a year, so we're pretty good size. And we start as young as age 2 years old for our dance, all the way through. I think our oldest client right now is maybe 70, and he's learning Spanish guitar, and all ages in between. So yeah, but we do see lots of that kind of what would be like lower school, kind of first grade through 6th grade type of thing. That's kind of the fault. So.
Mm-hmm. And then how can people find you again on your Facebook page and YouTube channel?
Sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. If you go on Facebook, it's Academy of Music and Art. There's an Academy of Music and Art YouTube channel as well. I think if you go to the Facebook, that has the links, academymusicandart.com. For the small business people who want to talk small business, you can go to Chris Wilson Coaching on Facebook. And I have a video every day where we talk about challenges businesses face. They're short videos. They're under 3 minutes. And those are on my YouTube channel as well for Chris Wilson Coaching, or chriswilsoncoaching.net is my web address. But Facebook is a great place to start. That's where everything sort of stems from.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining. I'm a fan of the arts myself. I used to play the piano. I used to play the trumpet, big time jazz fan. I love music. That kind of goes against the grain, hip hop, rock and roll, right at the cusp of them coming out and being revolutionary and rebellious. And so, and I'm also a photographer. I have at least 20 years worth of experience. So I'm a big fan and lover of the arts. I think it has such an important role in our society. And I think you just captured that. So thank you for coming on to our meetup channel today. And yeah, and if you're ever in the DC area, hopefully when we're back to back to being more in person and more integrated, you can come join us.
Sure.
Yeah.